Hi, good evening, all of you. Hope you are able to view me. Hope you are able to see the screen, and I am audible to all of you. Hi, good evening, all of you. Please confirm if you know you I am audible to all of you and you are able to see the screen. Please confirm. I am waiting for your confirmation. Yeah, thank you so much. And I understand now that we are connected. And let us start our today's discussion topic. And our today's discussion topic is FDA 483 and warning letter. You all are aware about this, okay? I am not going to discuss what you know. Today I am going to discuss what most of the people are not aware, and the basic reference what I am going to use for the today's discussion is FDA's own procedure, FDA's own manual. On that basis I have prepared this today's training session. So if you see, uh, if you see that what type of guideline I have referred, so you can see this the very important guideline is the right side. What you can see that regulatory procedures manual, it is by FDA, so they are bound to follow their SOP. So from that SOP we will understand that what about the warning letters and how the process FDA is following, so that you will equipped with your response to the warning letter. You will work out on that received warning letter, or you can evaluate that whether you will get warning letter or not from FDA. So that is the guideline, or you can say the manual or FDA manual, it is there. And the left side you can see here that it is a the training given by the FDA inspector and FDA on the topic FDA compounding quality center of excellence, and what to expect after inspection. So based on that also I have considered some slides content to make you aware that what are the FDA expectation on today's topic. So this is what we are going to discuss today, and what we will discuss today I will not now touch upon on the agenda today on this topic. I will discuss verbally or orally to you what we are going to discuss. The very important point is we will discuss about what is the FDA 483, sorry, what is FDA 483, what is FDA expectations, what is the definition of 483 for FDA, that we will discuss, followed by at the closing meeting of the FDA inspection, at the end of the FDA inspection, what we should do, that we will discuss. And again I am telling you, whatever I am going to discuss, it is exactly in line with the US FDA expectation through the training given by the FDA inspectors, or the manual through which the FDA inspectors are getting trained. So please understand, this is not on the something I'm going to discuss on the, it is exactly based on the FDA expectations through the FDA manual, as well as the FDA expectation through their training slides. So the point is what you should do during the closing meeting, what type of points you should consider during the responding to the FDA, that also you need to discuss. We will discuss during the session. With respect to warning letter, what is the warning letter, whether it is a formal or informal for FDA perspective. And see, after FDA 483 observations, we give the CAPA to the FDA, CAPA report or compliance report to FDA. So what process the FDA follows at their end, so that they will come on the conclusion, or they will take a decision that whether the FDA 483 CAPA is satisfactory, whether we need to give the more time to the site, or whether we need to give to the warning letter, what type of how the process will be followed in the FDA office. That is what we are going to discuss under this training session. Everybody is aware about that, or responding to FDA 483 warning letter for response, what type of documents we need to share. This is all you are aware. But my point here is, what is the practice followed back up in the FDA office when they decide that whether we need to share, or whether we need to issue the warning letter, or just we need to monitor the CAPA, or we need to take some other actions. how it is decided, and what is the strategy of FDA behind that we are going to discuss in the today's topic. Hope you got my point. So that's why this is very very peculiar training session today. So that is the reason I told that I will not touch upon the agenda on this training session. And of course, before start of the training session, we will have some short discussion on my CV, so that everybody will be aware. Many of you know me. My name is Hitendra Kumar Shaha. I am a CGMP compliance consultant, trainer and auditor from NADH plus GXP compliance services. This is my brief CV. I am not putting more time here. So I was a quality head for so many years, QA QC head. I have audited more than 500 sites, supported so many companies for FDA remediations and drafting or review of the compliance, and many companies got the satisfactory EIR also after our support to the companies. We provide end-to-end support, means starting from the gap audit to preparing the FDA inspections or solving the queries, even remediation of the GXP non-conformities, and then facing during the inspection also we are present at the site, and even online if any compliance related activities need to support, we provide that support also. We provide compliance or CAPA report review support services. We review the CAPA also prepared by the agency. We review the annexures and all. We support to all the companies unless and until they get the EIR, establishment inspection report. So from the initial mock audit or gap audit till getting the EIR, we provide complete support, end-to-end solution to all the companies. This is just a brief about me. You can go through these slides. These companies I work in Indian as well as the multinational companies. The Indian companies includes the Sun Pharma, Blue Cross Laboratories, Alembic Pharma, US Vitamins. I work in multinational companies like AstraZeneca is a Swedish company. You are aware about that. Sanofi, it's a French company, and Mylan, of course, it is a US based company, you know that. So this is just brief about my major work experience, and as this training will be recorded in the form of video, so I am just putting this disclaimer that whatever you will implement or follow, please refer the current guideline. Consider this training as the learning purpose or learning session only. This is what I am just requesting to all of you. So you can go through the disclaimer in detail. Sorry. So what I was telling you, all the people, that these two documents are very very important to understand what are the FDA's expectation, what FDA follows the procedure in their office before issuing the warning letter, and what type of timeline you have the timeline, right, for giving the CAPA report or compliance. You need to respond to the FDA within 15 working days, right? You know that. I agree with you. You know that. You are all aware about this. Same way, FDA is also having a timeline to issue the warning letter, to issue the letters. They also have the timelines. That also we will discuss. Okay, and this presentation, the left side you can see the FDA Compounding Quality Center of Excellence, what to expect after an inspection. So this was the training given by the FDA inspector in the year 2022. So I referred some of the content from this training presentation also to make you aware that what are the FDA expectation. And this is, of course, this is the procedure, or you can say the SOP followed by the FDA. So let us discuss further. So this is all you know, that the possible regulatory or enforcement pathways. You all are know what are the possible regulatory or enforcement pathways. Means if FDA inspects the site and if there is a non-conformity observed, so what type of actions can be taken. So there will be some immediate regulatory actions, which includes recommended recall or request to cease the operations. Then there will maybe the press release, or there may be some ACRA letter. There may be some untitled letter. Untitled letter means in between when there is it is not a warning also. It is not a warning letter also. So they need to give some letter to the site. So that is considered as an untitled letter. there will be some regulatory meetings, so sometime to understand in more detail and all, the regulatory will ask you to have a meeting, and even you can so you will get some time to interact with the FDA, maybe online or in person, and you can explain what is the practices, procedures, and what is the thought behind preparing the compliance report, that you can explain during the regulatory meetings. And of course, there may be the injunction also. There are so many other activities, actions like import alert, and the so many even court related activities are also there, penalty, and so many things are there, but these are the major things, so I listed here in line with the FDA training modules. Okay, hope my speed is very it's okay, it is not so fast. If you feel it is fast, you can reduce the speed by through the YouTube, so that you can reduce the speed for your understanding. But I think the speed is normal for most of the people, but for your understanding, you can do this activity. So these are the possible regulatory or enforcement pathways. This is also you are aware, so I will not much discuss here. See, again I am telling you, where you need to understand, there I will put more focus, as it is a part of the training session. Some slides or some content you may be aware, but as it is a part of the training session, I will consider this while discussion, but I will put more focus where you need to understand in more detail. Okay, so what is the Form 483? So Form FDA 483, so this is what the information by FDA, section 704B to US under the section C374 of the FDA and C Act. Upon completion of any such inspection and prior to leaving the premises, the officer making the inspection shall give to the owner a report in writing setting forth any conditions or practices observed by him which in his judgment indicate any means drug consists in a whole or in a part of a filthy, putrid or decomposed substances, or has been prepared, packed or held under unsanitary condition, etc., etc. So in this case, the FDA 483 given. Now there are some obligations under this FDA and C Act by FDA, that after completion of any inspection and before leaving the site, the officer, means the inspector, FDA inspector, should prepare that report and give to the owner. That report should be in a writing. Okay, and in that report, the inspector should specify all the conditions or practices observed in his judgment. So what type of observation, why the observation is given, what is the guideline expectations. So the report is given by FDA, maybe 3 or 4 pages, it depends on number of observations. This is not a final agency conclusion. Again, I am telling you, this is not a final agency decision. It is just the inspector observed during his or her visit to the site and identified some observations. So these observations, along with what are the expectations by FDA. So normally you are aware that how the 483s are given. The top 3-4 lines will be in a bold, which indicates that what is the FDA expectations, or in which clause the observation is given, under which clause observation is given, and then below is specifically or mainly, and then the observations are written. So this type of 483s are given by the inspector. So these are the legal binding to the inspector also to give the audit report or inspection report before leaving to the site or auditing site. See, I will try to complete this training within 1 hour, but if it takes more time, so please bear with me. Okay. Now, the very important thing, again I am telling you, where you need to put more focus, that is only I am going to discuss. And also, whatever appearing on the slide, don't only read that. Whatever I am telling, that you need to understand, because most of the things are put in the slide, but some points I may tell you extra. Okay. So this point is what should I do during the closing discussion and Form 483 review. So when there is a closing discussion, the report, FDA form FDA 43 is prepared by the inspector and it will be given to the auditee. Now you have some rights as a auditee, so you need to understand that. Ask question during the discussion to ensure you understand the issues documented on the form FDA 43. So you have the right, you can ask, not not arguing, or you should not argue. What the point is, you can ask to understand in a better way about the what is the expectation and what is this observation, so that you will able to give the kappa properly. You're getting my point? So your intention of asking the question should be to understand in detail that what is the FDA expectation or inspector expectation behind it. Hope you got my point. There should not be any argument. Okay, this is given, these slides points are given during shared during by the FDA inspectors during their training. So it is very clear, these are, you can ask the question but no arguments. Ensure someone is taking notes during the discussion. So when you are discussing face to face with the inspector, and inspector explain to you that this is the observation, this is the expectation, you hope you remember, we observed this document or we observed in the shop floor, and on the basis of that I have written this observation. So this is all the FDA will explain to the auditee. So there should be some other person, you can say as a the person who can just write it down. He or she will not interfere in any discussion. Okay, that person will only go on writing the notes that what is going to discuss here. Okay. Third point is clarify any outstanding issues that are discussed but not documented on the form FDA 43. So you can clarify some outstanding issues. Yes, these are the observations you have written. Okay, but I think hope you remember that on the day 1 of the audit or day 2 of the audit, you have identified this gap, and immediately we have taken the action. You have not specified in the FDA 43 form, but still we have taken this action against that observation, and this is the evidence. You can discuss all the outstanding issues that are not part of the FDA 43, but if you want to share, you can share this kappa, so that this is very important to make a positive mindset that yes, you are the quality cautious, you are committed to the quality. See, many people treat these FDA inspections as a part of the what you can say, the mechanical way. So what they consider, okay, inspection is there, inspector will come, inspector will visit the site or go through the document. Inspector, if identifies the gap, he or she will give the 43 observations. You need to respond. Yes, I agree with you. I agree. This is okay. But my point here is try to understand that you have to build the confidence to the FDA inspector while discussion, while understanding, while explaining the things. Please understand this point. Hope you are clear with this discussion, and this is what I purposely put this. Again, I am telling you, this is, I took it from the FDA expectation training slide. Okay. The next point is post FDA 43. Okay, now I got the 43 observation. How to respond? So very important thing is, in the 43 observation, many people only focus on the identified observations or non-conformity. You have to verify the guideline expectation, guideline expectation written in the bold. So first, FDA expect that as per 21 CFR part 210211, whatever subclass so and so, subpart so and so, clause these, the quality system should do this, or the production should have these. So observation. So first, the guideline expectations are given. So my point here is, when you are giving the compliance responding to FDA 43, you should not only focus on the observation, you should evaluate that observation with respect to the guideline requirement, and then based on that guideline requirement, how you are complying currently. that you have to please explain. You're getting my point. Don't restrict only the identified non-conformity. That is what the point here is. Provide adequate corrective actions that addresses the deficiencies. Of course, you need to provide the corrective actions that addresses the deficiencies. Provide preventive actions to ensure future compliance. Very good. Perfect. I agree with you. This you are aware, so I will not much discuss here. Responses should be comprehensive and well organized. So whatever response you are giving, it should be comprehensive and very well organized, and responses should be timely, respond within 15 working days or 15 business days. That are the points we need to discuss here. Very important point I want to touch upon, and that is you have to focus on the corrective actions, short term actions and long term actions. Both you need to consider here while discussion on this topic. So what should your response include? So this is what here explanation about the observation. So I told you that just don't go on writing the corrective action, preventive actions. No, that okay, you identified the observation, but you are not running your whole site under the complete non-conformity. You're getting my point. You are running your organization since long, and today inspector came and inspector is giving you the observation. That does not mean that you are running all the operation under the same type of non-conformity since long. So that way you need to explain about the observation, that how it is the single case or single isolated case, that you have to specify in the response. The second very important point what I was telling is the immediate action. This is many people, many companies lack this, and due to that the 483 report or 483 observation is converted into the warning letter. Basically, correction and resolution of deviation is very important, because some people what they do, they give the long term action plan. We will implement this computerized system, we will do this, and use a timeline. This definitely will call for a warning letter. The reason is, if you are giving the timeline, you are not taking the immediate action, immediate correction. Then the point is, are you going to stop your all the manufacturing operation unless and until you implement the CAPA and verify the CAPA effectiveness, and then only you will start the manufacturing operations? Answer will be no. Answer will be no. And that is the reason the FDA expects that the immediate action, corrections and resolution of deviation is very important. The next point is long term action. So actions which are planned for long term, that also should be specified with the timelines. Documentation or the evidences. So what type of documentation related to, yes, it is really implemented, you need to provide some evidence, because the evidence is a documentary proof, you can say that you implemented the CAPA and whether it is effective or not. And the last point is actions completed. So what type of actions are completed and what type of actions are not yet completed, that is what you should include in your response. This is, see, I am just giving a brief. There are so many points you need to include, but basically at least you need to focus on this point. That is what from my side of I am explaining you. And again I am telling, this is what is in line with the FDA expectation. During the training they explain, so that I conducted this training session. Okay, if you wish, I will share the link in the description section. You can even download the guideline as well as the training presentation given by the FDA inspectors. Okay, hope you are getting my point. And again, I forgot to tell you that if you have any questions during our training session, you can put in the chat comment section, not a chat box, because chat box will get closed after some time. So please put your questions in the comment section. I will revert back to you your all the queries in the comment section. Okay, warning letter. Now let us understand about the warning letter and what is the FDA procedure recommendation through that FDA procedure. Okay, this is the thoughts of FDA. Okay, not you. You means as a manufacturer. This is the FDA. So what FDA follow the procedure, that now we are going to discuss now. The agency position is that warning letters are issued only for violation of regulatory significance. Significant violations are those violations that may lead to enforcement action if not promptly and adequately corrected. So if you have not taken the action promptly, you just write a very good kappa, but all actions are given 6 months, 4 months, 3 months date, that means you have not taken the actions promptly. And if your actions are not adequate, that also will lead to the warning letter, issuance the warning letter. A warning letter is the agency's principal means of achieving prompt voluntary compliance with the FDC Act. So basically it's the principal means of achieving the prompt voluntary action. So when the warning letter is issued, then only FDA start working on that what actions need to be taken further. You got my point? This is what, again I am telling you, this is the FDA SOP, okay? So how FDA follows the practice, that I am discussing or explaining here. A warning letter is informal and advisory. So basically the warning letter is informal, so that they prepare that letter and they issue to the site. So what is the procedure, that also we will discuss in the next slide. And it is advisory to the site that, see, we have given you the warning because your kappa there, we identified there are the observations. Second thing, your kappa is not adequate, and third thing, your actions are not prompt. That is the reason we are giving you the warning letter. That is the advisory FDA is giving through this warning letter. It communicates the agency's position on a matter, but it does not commit FDA to taking enforcement action. So if you got the warning letter, that does not mean that you will get the enforcement actions only, like import alert or seizure and all. Warning letter means that you could not follow the expectation of FDA. That's it. Okay. For these reasons, FDA does not consider warning letter to be the final agency's action on which it can be issued. Correct? It can be issued. So the next actions will be different. So that is the reason it is just an indication. So this is what the meaning of this by the FDA. Hope you are getting my point. I am explaining you in a very easy language and all. Once you download the guideline and you start reading that guideline, you will understand that how tough and how complicated the words are there in that guideline. But I am making this understanding the requirements in very easy way, so that you will understand in a better way. Okay. Now issuing the warning letter. Now suppose you send the kappa response to the FDA. Now there they have the meetings and the different teams. So they will discuss that whether we should issue the warning letters or not. So there are some points they need to consider. In determining whether to issue a warning letter, program office directors and center or other officials with authority to issue should consider below points. And what are the points? First point is, evidence shows that a firm, product and or individual is in the violation of the law or regulations, and that failure to achieve adequate and prompt correction may result in agency consideration of an enforcement action. Means you got the observation, but agency think that your approach towards the observation is not up to the mark. Your focus with respect to the prompt actions are not there. Your actions are not adequate. Then in that case, the warning letter can be issued. There are some points, that based on that the FDA will think that whether the warning letter should be issued to you means your site, audit site or not. The second is the violations are determined to be of regulatory significance, and the issuance of a warning letter is appropriate and consistent with agency policy as described in the compliance policy guidelines. There is a reasonable expectation that the responsible firm and persons will take prompt corrective action. So always remember, whenever you are giving the response, I am always telling all companies, all the team members that please focus on prompt corrective action. Okay, you can have a long-term action plan. You that also you commit. I agree with you, but the prompt corrective actions are very, very important with respect to the compliance, and many companies lack to give the prompt actions. Okay, these also very important thing with respect to the thinking that whether we should issue the warning letter or not. Warning letters remain a primary means to serve to ensure that the seriousness, I am again using the same word. Okay, warning letters remain a primary means to serve to ensure that the seriousness and scope of the observed violations are understood by top management. So FDA inspector always believe that the observations are understood clearly by the top management. Most of the time the the top management or the identified the management person will not understand the technical things. So if it is the case, then the chances of getting the warning letter will be very high. Okay, so the most responsible person, this is the terminology FDA uses, that most responsible person at the site. The most responsible person at the site should be the purely technical person, not the finance or any other expert. The person may be the expert from the different stream, no problem, but the person should be technical enough to understand the non-conformity, to understand the observation, and to evaluate the corrective actions. Okay, so that is the reason it is mentioned that when they present it, that it should be well understood by the top management, and the appropriate resources are allocated to fully correct the violations and to prevent recurrence. This is mostly observed by many companies, that when the warning letters are given, that what are the actions are taken by the top management. Many companies, what they do, when warning letter is given, the response, they just copy the 483 response, whatever earlier they have given, they just copy and paste with some changes, and they will send the same response as the warning letter response. Absolutely wrong practice. Absolutely wrong practice. You have to think about the long-term plan. You have to think about the short-term plan, and you have to think about the all levels, including all levels. Suppose if any non-conformity is observed, you should not only focus of that particular non-conformity, you have to understand the non-conformity and ensure the compliance at all levels. Hope you are getting my point, and that is the reason this expectation is given by the FDA, that they will present that seriousness, they will evaluate the seriousness of the, they will expect the seriousness of the top management. When a firm is in the process of correcting the violations, now you give the 483 you got the 483 observations, and you gave the response to the 483 to FDA, and already you took some immediate corrective actions or prompt corrective actions, and some long-term action plan, you have given the timelines. Now that means what? You are in the process of correcting the violations, right? Or you have made a written promise. So, and in that you made some commitment, you make a written commitment to take a prompt corrective action. A program office or center should consider the following factors when determining whether or not to issue a warning letter. So basically, when sometime what happen in some of the observation, this is very important to understand, with respect to the responding to the FDA. When you are giving the response to FDA, sometime in some type of observation, you may not able to give the prompt corrective actions. It may take some period, maybe 30 days, 45 days, maybe 1 month, 2 months. In that case, you have to commit clearly that you will not manufacture the product unless and until you implement the corrective action. Clear cut you should commit, you should make the promise. If you not promise in such a way, you are likely to get the warning letter, because these points will help agency to take the decision whether we should issue the warning letter, yes, or whether we should not issue the warning letter. So this will help to take a decision to the agency. And if you got warning letter, then again it is very tough to again give the response and all. So many people think about the productivity when you got the observations and all. They feel that okay, you do the quality team will focus on the compliance and all, and our manufacturing will go on side by side. This happens actually. This is happened in many companies, and due to this, the quality people, quality team even could not promise properly to the FDA, because the top management involved in that, and that is the reason in the last slide also we discussed that the top management awareness is very very important. Hope you are getting my point, what I am telling you from this expectation of the FDA. I'm telling you, I will share you the link in the description section. You can download this training module by the FDA inspector and guideline of the FDA from that link. Okay. The firm's compliance history, for example, history of serious violations or failure to prevent the recurrence of the violations. This is also very important point. Always remember, when there is an inspection, please refer the previous CAPA. And let me tell you, the previous CAPA review is a very, very peculiar thing. The people who work with me or the companies where I am supporting the consultancy activity or supporting the compliance activity for FDA or you may be aware that in what fashion or in what sense we should review the commitments or review the CAPA, and in what sense we have to evaluate the effectiveness of that compliance. That is very very important, because if similar type of observation is identified, then it is very very serious, because in the observation FDA will write that similar observation was identified in the previous inspection. So this type of observation will be written, and the last time the observation may be the less you can say the identified as a less risk, but this time if it is a repeat type of thing, the risk identified with that observation will be higher. Hope you are getting my point. So this is where it is very very important. The nature of the violation, that means, for example, the violation that the firm was aware of, was evident or discovered but failed to correct. Some observations that the auditors also will tell that yes we have also identified and we are already working on this and we have this action plan ready. So these type of actions are also very much important. The risk associated with the product and the impact of the violation on such a risk. So if the risk with respect to the observation will be very high, or the violation will have the very high risk or harm to the product, then again you are likely to get the warning letter. So this type of these type points are considered as a warning letter based on the promised corrective action. You are getting my point? So ongoing, whatever you are promising some corrective action, FDA will track on this all promised corrective action, and based on that even FDA may issue again the warning letter, may later, not immediately, but may after your corrective actions are inadequate and all, you will get the warning letter. So the next point is the overall adequacy of the firm's corrective actions and whether the corrective action addresses a specific violation, related product or facilities, and certain provisions for monitoring and review to ensure effectiveness and prevent occurrence. So if you are considering these all points or not, that is also evaluated. Whether documentation of the corrective actions was provided to enable the agency to undertake an informed evaluation. So okay, you have given some corrective action plan, you promise that you will implement by the timeline and all, but whether you have shared some documentation for that also agency will undertake. Sometime I will give an example. You will commit some activity, that this activity we will complete by suppose next 10 days or 15 days, and if you could not follow that commitment, what is your policy, what is your practice? Are you communicating to FDA that due to this reason there is a delay by 5 days or 10 days? Are you raising the deviations for this type of non-complying to the or non-following to the commitments? That all FDA expects, because the FDA is expected in a documentation whether the corrective action was provided to enable the agency to undertake an informed evaluation. Hope you are getting my point. I am just making it clear. Slides are visible to you, but I am explaining you in more detail. So again I am telling you that don't only restrict on reading the slides, but try to listen my words also, because I am explaining much more than what is expected in the guideline. Okay, whether the time frame, this is what I was telling you here just now, whether the time frame for the corrective action is appropriate and whether actual progress has been made in accordance with the time frame. Correct? So what happened? The people will say that this activity will be implemented by maybe 3 months. Let us say example. But you need to give the timelines for the particular timeline. Means what? Suppose for example, if you want to implement some computerized system as a kappa, long-term kappa within 6 months. So you have to break down that timeline into some different timelines. Like within 15 days the URA shall be prepared. Then within next 1 month, particular date, the suitable vendor will be selected, identified. Within this much period, you will issue the purchase order. Within this much period, you will prepare the qualification or validation of the computerized system. So this way you have to promise, if it is a long-term action plan. Whether the corrective actions taken ensures sustained compliance with the law or regulations. This is very, very important. Last point is, again I am telling, very, very important. It is given in the FDA manual, FDA procedure. What happened? We give the corrective action. Training has been given to the all to follow this practice. We give very good corrective action. But whether this corrective action will ensure the sustained compliance. We just give the kappa that we will revise the SOP to include this instruction. Yes, I agree with you. You have taken the corrective action. But with that corrective action, whether you ensure the sustained compliance or not, because FDA is reviewing the compliance by considering these all points. Remember this point. Okay. So if again I am telling you, if you want to services for review of the compliance, it is a very small cost, but you should not compromise in that, and you should review the compliance always. Because what happened, basically you are aware about the observations, you prepare the compliance considering in the mind that you know the observation. So some points you will skip, but the problem is the compliance will be reviewed by the compliance team. So compliance team is only focusing on the observation and the compliance report given to him. So that is the third person. So that is the reason it has to be reviewed with the third eye. You got my point? And because again I am telling you that the sustained compliance is very, very important. Please bear with me. I am discussing in detail, but I think this is important to all of you. If now, based on all the things, if the FDA is making the decision that not to issue a warning letter, so let us now consider that based on all the evaluations, they decide that whether we should issue the warning letter or not, and then they decide that okay, we will not issue the warning letter because adequate corrective action has been taken, or because corrective action is being taken or has been promised. It is recommended that an alternative form of communication. So in that case, if warning letter is not given, other communication form is a response letter is given to the site. So then what they decide? To issue the response letter to the firm. Okay, it is issued to who is the most responsible person at the site. To that person this response letter is issued by the FDA. When it is reissued, again I am telling you, when FDA come to the conclusion based on all the evaluation that okay that you are putting very much efforts on compliance, sustained compliance, prompt action, and the long-term actions and all, and adequate compliance also. So of course, the warning letter may not be issued to you, but to have the tracking the kappa and all, or additional information, or may require some additional evidences, FDA may issue the response letter. So in that response letter, the response letter will be issued to the most responsible person at the site. Okay. Hope you got my point. So this response letter is issued to the particular company. Hope you are getting my point. Again, I'm asking if you have any questions, you can put in the comment section. I will reply to you after this training is over. The response letter should indicate that the agency is relying on the firm's correction or commitments regarding the CAPA. So response letter is that, okay, your whatever response CAPA is given, we believe on you, we accept that. Further, the letter may include a statement that should we later observe that these are similar violations have not been corrected, regulatory action like seizure, injunction, and if appropriate, civil penalties may be taken without further notice. So in that, even the agency can write in the response letter that, okay, we believe that you are taking the action and you are committed to the CAPA actions and all, but if similar type of observation is identified, then without any notice, we will issue this all actions, we will take actions. This is what the information is given in the response letter. So response letter does not mean that, yes, you are you are clear the inspection. Of course, you clear the inspection if you got the response letter, because after response letter, you are going to get the establishment inspection report, EIR report. Okay. But the point here is, once you got a response letter, your responsibility for the compliance becomes more and more. Your responsibility for compliance becomes more and more. You should not get relaxed, because if there is a repeat type of observation during the next inspection or maybe sudden surprise inspections, then it will be very serious for your organization. Hope you got my point. Verification of corrective actions. Verification of the overall completeness and effectiveness of the corrective action should be undertaken during the next inspection. So what FDA expects that this is mentioned in their FDA SOP. Okay, this is what mentioned in the FDA SOP. Again, I am telling you. I will share the link to download that FDA SOP. The link is in the description of this YouTube. So FDA expects that the verification of the CAPA will be done in the next inspection, the timing of which may be expedited or routine as determined by the issuing office. So timing may be, the FDA office will decide whether it should be evaluated next inspection or early, or they may put more request to you to evaluate the CAPA. It depends on the nature of the observation and all, but most of the time the CAPA is reviewed during the next inspections. Okay. So how you have the SOP of writing the vendor audit report, or how you have the SOP for vendor evaluation. So similar way, this is the SOP followed by the FDA. In simple language, I am explaining you. Okay. Multiple center review. This is also the very, very important thing. And suppose now we discuss that now we discuss that in case that if the warning letter is not issued, if they take the decision that warning letter need not be issued, then no problem, you will get the response letter, or directly you will get the EIR also based on the nature of the observations. But suppose if FDA decides that, observations with respect to the observations and the CAPA report, we need to issue the warning letter. So for issues in a warning letter, and that warning letter sometime is given to the multiple centers. Now what are the multiple centers? In the when you are doing the you have different departments in your company. Similar way with the FDA, they have the different department, ORA, CDRH, CDER. Then so many departments are there. Tobacco related department is different, food related department is different. So when this warning letter is required to be reviewed by more than one center, then what happened? They identify the lead center. For example, whether the observation related to the pharma, then it is generated by the specific group of the people who is related to the pharma, and then it is reviewed by the other team members. So that center is called the lead center. If the warning letter is prepared and it is reviewed by it is related to the tobacco area, tobacco related product, then it will be then the tobacco related product agency or group will be the lead center, and that lead center will take the support of the other center. This way it is followed. Okay, this is necessary to ensure a timely and appropriate coordinated review process. So how you prepare the audit report and get it reviewed and all, so same way they have the practice. Simple way I am explaining to you. Hope you have the points are clear to all of you. Again, I am requesting, if you have any questions, please put your questions in the comment section. Now the last point, very important. Warning letter response time frame. Within 15 working days after completion of the inspection, sample analysis or collection of the evidence, the program should submit a warning letter recommendation to the appropriate reviewing office for concurrence. Now this response is not the response for the manufacturer. Response by the manufacturer. This response expectation by the FDA office, that FDA should evaluate all the things and within 15 working days of inspection or sample analysis or collection of the evidence means CAPA report and all, they should submit a warning letter recommendation to the appropriate reviewing office. So they have to prepare within 15 working days the warning letter. Point is this is not, again I am telling, this is not with respect to the auditee side to respond the warning letter within 15 days. This is with respect to the binding requirement for the FDA compliance offices. So what is the binding requirement is based on the inspection observations or the sample analysis maybe, or maybe the collection of evidence or evaluation of the CAPA and all. Suppose the decision is taken by the FDA that yes, we need to issue the warning letter. If that decision is taken, then that warning letter recommendation should be appropriately immediately recommended. Means warning letter should be prepared and immediately the warning letter should be shared. A draft, you can say the draft warning letter should be shared to the appropriate reviewing office for the concurrence. And when that office agrees to that warning letter with respect to the words, terminologies and all, then that warning letter will be issued to the site. You got my point? Then once site received the warning letter, then again site will have a 15 working days to respond to the warning letter issued to the site. Hope you got my point. So today what we discuss about the FDA, basically FDA 483 closing period, what we should discuss during the closing meeting, and after closing meeting, once we received the FDA Form 483, how we should respond to the FDA. Correct? Then after responding to the FDA, what are the activities are followed in the FDA office? So what are the activities are followed in the FDA office? How they decide whether we should give warning letter or not, or whether we should issue the response letter. That is all is discussed, evaluated by the FDA, and for that 15 days is the timeline. And after that, if they come on the conclusion that yes, we need to issue the warning letter, then they have to prepare that warning letter and recommend to the reviewing office for the concurrence. And when the reviewing office is accepting that warning letter, then that warning letter is given to the site. And after getting the warning letter by the site, again the site will have the 15 working days to respond to these observations or the clarifications mentioned in the warning letter. This is where the whole cycle is followed. Hope you are getting my point, what I am explaining you. Hope it is clear to all of you. This is what I want to discuss about this today's training session. Again I am telling, if you have any question, you put your questions in the comment section. I will revert back to you. Because why I took this procedure, because when you give the CAPA, you have to focus on specific points. That points I touch upon here. Second thing, what is going on there in the FDA office after receiving the response, that CAPA response. So that also you should know. That is what my purpose of the today's training session. Hope you understood all the things. Further, if you have any questions, you can put in the comment section. And if you need any support with respect to the the FDA audit preparedness, or any FDA support you need, or you want to protect your organization from the 483s or warning letter, you can contact our the email or to the numbers, and we will definitely support you, because costing after getting the observation will be very very high. So that is always I recommend that the 10% of the cost, if you put in the right direction, then you can save your organization and increase your productivity. Otherwise, what happen, your productivity will be lost, your production will be lost, your manufacturing will be lost, your business will be lost. So always remember, many people have a reactive approach that okay, once we got the observation, we will do this and all. This strategy is very very wrong. That is what at the end I want to share my thought process. Thank you so much, and ensure all time compliance. Thank you. And again, I'm telling you, if you need any this reference to this guideline, I will share the link in the description section. You can download the link. And if you have any questions, you can put in the comment section. I will revert back to you. Okay. Thank you so much, and ensure all time compliance. Thank you.